I sought two names for my project. First one is Power Plant Ink and Flower Monogatari, but I haven't made a final decision yet. The research question is how are female images used in the socialist propaganda in China to construct a utopia? But the object of discussion has been changing with the progress of the research. From a socialist political propaganda to how the powers are used the female body to construct a utopia. Why are female images and symbols be used in those posters? Why are there so many identities and responsibilities imposed on women? So my continual research gradually shifted to the status quo of Chinese women's society. I found that in those old posters, flowers are an object closely connected with women. It appears very frequently, but it really appears in large area in images of non-female subjects. So I want to put the entering point of visualization on the study of plants in political propaganda and use flowers as a symbols to metaphorize women's social issue and current situation. I will focus on how to use the interpretation and transformation of flowers to produce a visual form. Here, flowers become a symbol and metaphor, a carrier of an imagination. I decided to use a publication as a form to telling stories. I have two stories really want to tell. The first one is about the dreams and the fate of a few female workers who works in a factory. The other one is an ordinary story about my mother and grandmother because of their roles such as labor, daughter, mother, and wife. Those roles are rapidly promoted in political posters. And for these women who grow up at the same period as these posters. My initial idea is that the two books discuss a woman's social identities in different ways. The first one uses exposure liquid mixed with plain ink. The second one, I'm going to use a plain ink to color those old photos from my family to make a family photo album. Include the text in that album is from my interview with my mother and grandmother. This is a draft of my first story. Because I want to use a particular print method, so I use the black and white throughout the images. After that, I can directly print the transparent film, including the images and text. It mainly tells the short stories of 5 female workers who working in the factory. They are all real person based on the news report and interviews I wrote. Fictionally about their stories. Some things comes from news pictures in the picture part, and some are on my imaginate about them. The next part is about my experiment in printing method. The first one is use the evaporation method to extract the colors of the flower as the ink. Some of the colors from the flowers is completely different from the own color. Some of them are too light, so I add some similar plant extras. And also adding Arabic gums will make the color brighter. Then I use the extracted colors as a watercolor, put other materials and collage. The second method is easier. Just add the plants and water directly on the photograph paper and put them under the sun. After that, some shapes will appear on the photo papers. The third one is Scion type method. First, I try to expose it directly with the dried flowers. Then I try to use a printer to print transparent film, then put it on the paper after brushing the liquid for the exposure. At the same time, I try to use paper soaked in plain liquid. Different color will appear. But yesterday's exposure was not very good. It's probably because the sunshine is not strong enough. The last method is to use Anton type print. Again, I use a liquid extracted from flowers as a media exposure. Also, because the sunlight thing, the effect of living things outdoor for 2 days is still not very clear. Finally, I choose some binding ways for my books. These methods are all related to being bound. That's all. Thank you for listening.